Enter a new era of color and brilliance with Vizio's Quantum Pro 4K QLED Smart TV. With over a billion hues of vibrant color, plus wide viewing angle and anti-glare film, it delivers perfect clear picture no matter where you're sitting. It even comes with over 300 free TV channels and thousands of on-demand titles with Vizio Watch Free Plus. And of course, all your favorite apps are built in, so you can start blasting your favorite music, radio, and podcasts from iHeartRadio straight out the box. Head to Walmart.com to find the Vizio Quantum Pro today.
Come on. Yeah. Woo. Come on. Yeah. Woo. Woo. Yeah. Yeah. Woo. Woo. Fuck yeah. Yeah.
You're listening to The Dollop. This is an American history podcast that occasionally goes to Australia. And each week I, Dave Anthony, read a story from American history to
With some energy.
A fella.
Gareth Reynolds, who has no idea what the topic is going to be about.
And our guest tonight from Hot Morning Radio, Nick Cody.
Yes.
Morning radio walk. Who's walking like a morning radio guy? Queensland's own.
G'day, guys. Who wants footy tickets? Long weekend, 13, 10,
No,
60.
Nick,
sorry.
no, we're not.
Sorry,
wrong one. No.
Bieber's coming
The
back.
phones are lighting up right now. People want to talk about it.
How's it
Weather
going?
on the 10s and 30s.
Nick, like all of the rest of you, got COVID recently.
Yeah.
Cody COVID.
How
Did
was
pretty
it?
well.
Yeah.
I had a sniffly nose on a Tuesday. My son got it first, my 3-year-old son, and very annoying. Cost me a lot of shows. And I told him, and we did the test. The second red line popped up, and I said, mate, you can't see your nana in par today, and we're not going to the Gold Coast for a holiday. And my wife said, that's a lot of information for a 3-year-old to take. Seconds after he's been told he's also got COVID.
But I find with a 3-year-old, you don't actually have to use the words. You can make them feel how disappointed you are in them with your eyes.
Yeah.
Dave's father patented the move, actually.
Yeah.
And then you were saying backstage that you took it really seriously and you just were kind of in bed.
Took care of yourself.
Drinking fluids, electrolytes.
A lot of fluids.
Yeah.
Drank a bottle of red wine a day.
Bottle of red a day, a few whiskeys.
Yeah.
My wife, the healthiest person on the planet, fucked her. Idiot.
You just got hammered.
Five Below means hot stuff, cool prices, and the best kind of fun anywhere. The trends you see all over your feed can be yours for way less than the rest. Like can't keep in stock candy and snacks, brand name beauty, the latest tech, room decor, and lots more. Get a whole week's worth of amazing graphic tees for the price of one elsewhere in our iconic Five Below tea shop. Be the ultimate collector by grabbing the latest Hello Kitty or Funko fan faves. Plus, get extreme value finds you just have to see to believe in our 5 Beyond shop. Oh, and one last thing. Everything you need to live your best summer vacay or staycation starts at just $1. Yep, you could say we're kind of a big deal here. Shop one of over 1,600 stores nationwide and fivebelow.com.
Eating salads like a nerd.
Yeah.
July 28th, 1925. Year of our Lord, Jesus Christ. John Thomas Stonehouse was born in Southampton, England. He was born into a staunch trade unionist family. His mother, Rosina, was a counselor on the Southampton City Council and later became the first female Labour mayor. John joined the British Labour Party at the age of 16.
Wow.
He's not fucking around.
I'm not accusing anyone of fucking around.
Fucking around.
All right, relax. I'm the olive oil
Normally,
guy.
Isn't it normally 16-year-olds trying to sneak into the army?
No.
So they can go and fight? This one's like, we've got to lower the drinking age.
Yeah.
They're like, we think you've lied about your age, sir.
John's school teachers thought he had little ability.
Nice. I've been there. I was there a bunch.
So his teachers recommended he be apprenticed to be a butcher.
Wow. That does feel like a way of softly sort of being like, eh.
That's a butcher.
Has he thought about potentially learning how to cut ham hocks?
He'd be good at cutting meat.
You know, he'd be a good slicer, your boy would. He's got the brain of someone who could use a big axe, you know what I mean? He's one of them. He's got the mind for meat.
We thought he'd be like an author.
Well, you know, I think maybe we start him off with cutting and slicing and things of that nature. And then,
What about an accountant?
well, I mean, he will be ringing the meats up and weighing them. But again, I don't even think he should be the weigh guy. I think that should be another one. I think he'd be good at, again, looking at meat and, you know, putting it on the paper for the smart guy in the shop to... Again, he's an apprentice. You know, you don't figure that out right away. I mean, it's a bit rocket science-y, isn't it?
No.
Well...
So instead, he did not become a butcher. Instead, he got a job as a clerk and typist for the probation department, and then he joined the Royal Air Force to fight in World War II.
There you go.
Okay.
He was out after 2 years and got an ex-serviceman's grant to study economics and political science.
Boy, this butcher guy was a real fucking asshole.
Yeah.
Maybe it was just someone who needed a little help at the butcher store and was like, well, I could, you know, your kid should probably be
I'm
a
actually
butcher.
having a barbecue Sunday. Do you think you could be a butcher's apprentice?
And how did he go from butchery, Air Force to economics? Did he just fly so much that he's like, I'm pretty good with economics now? Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't really make sense.
Weird jump.
Well, he went to the London School of Economics, so he was there in 1947, and that's when he met Barbara Smith. Oh. They met at a dance. Barbara was almost 16.
How old is he?
47, so he is
Yeah.
22.
No, sorry.
No, he's not 47.
Jesus
1947.
Christ, that
He's
took
20
a real...
He's 22 or 21.
Okay,
Probably,
so, yeah, for
oh,
sure.
much older. Maybe not.
Great, good counter.
Yeah, not
nice
great.
job, Dave.
Yeah,
Really-
maybe not great.
Yeah, good counter. A little older, but maybe not.
Yeah. No, I was just saying maybe not a good thing to do. Hooking up with 15-year-olds when you're 22.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know.
Yep. Maybe. Okay,
Maybe.
let's just keep going. Like a good time to push through.
Barbara was a progressive socialist. She worked at a think tank before they were called think tanks. They married in 1940.
What was it called?
It was called the Fabian Society. It was just a thing. They didn't say it was a think tank. They were like, it's a bunch of guys in a society.
Okay, I was hoping you wouldn't have the answer. Or have a different thing. It's a fathom booth.
You were hoping for a joke.
Yeah, something good to work with, yeah.
That didn't happen.
I made it work.
Maybe you should be a butcher.
Be a tough job for me.
The saddest butcher.
Yeah, my meat is weeped upon. They didn't do nothing to you, fella. Have you thought about a Boca burger?
There's one near me. There's a vegan butcher near my house.
What
the
is
fuck
he doing?
is that? What is going on?
That can't be a vegan. That can't actually
There's
be.
nothing to cut.
Yeah, he's
Yeah,
not
it
a
is.
butcher.
It's all fake meat.
Right.
They put the sprig of parsley on it and everything.
So does he order a fake meat in the shape of a cow and then
Yeah.
he cuts it down?
Yeah, and then he puts a fucking electrical dart through its head. And he's like, boy. Goodbye, tofu. Look at all the oat milk coming out of this thing.
So they married in 1848. They honeymooned in
1948.
France. In 1948. I say 18 yet. 1948. They honeymooned in France. While they were on their honeymoon, John went swimming in the ocean and didn't come back for 2 hours.
That's fine. That doesn't seem that crazy.
That's normal. Just
Yeah.
a 2-hour swim out in the ocean.
Yeah, okay.
Now, he disappeared. You know, he swam out. And so Barbara thought he had drowned because he was gone so long. She starts to cry on the beach.
So she's never been to the beach? She was just, oh, my God. It's been 2 hours. It's time to remarry. I'm moving on. I gave him an hour, and he ain't back.
Well, I think most people will swim around the beach, but he swam until you couldn't see him anymore. So
It's a crazy move, for sure.
Yeah.
But 2 hours to grieve a death.
Yeah.
Well, she was upset. I mean, 2 hours, she's like, what the fuck happened? Like, he should be back, or I should see his head a little bit
Thank
coming
God.
towards me.
Thank God she met him after the war. That would have terrified her.
Shit.
I've got to go on short missions. My wife freaks out.
Can we fly by my house so she knows I'm okay? Babe! Oh, my God!
So when he came back, he just laughed, and he said, I always go for long swims. That's what I do.
You've never mentioned that once.
Yeah, it would be a good thing to say before.
Yeah.
I go for long swims. Instead, like, have a good life. Okay, I wonder if you're seeding a detail there, Dr. Anthony.
So after university, at 23, John stood as the Labour Party candidate in the London seat of Twickenham, which is the most English fucking name ever. Twickenham. He lost, but now he's like, I want to go into politics. This is what I want to do.
Was he when he was like gone for like the vote counting? She was like, "He's dead again." It's been 3 hours.
He's dead. My husband is dead. Honey. I was in the can.
Oh my God! I bought a casket. Woo! Let's still have the service.
I should have told you I love long shits. I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
So to build up his experience and to broaden his mind, he went to Africa with Barbara and their 2 daughters. There's the 2 daughters. So John, quote, in the wild north of Uganda, snatching a few hours' sleep in the simple thatched mud and wattle huts, and driving and working by day to create a cooperative movement which would help free the Ugandans from their ignorance and pathetic inferiority complexes and give them the tools to build a richer society and better
Well,
life.
I mean, okay, kind of a mixed bag, right? That's great
really-
that you're helping them. You mean these idiots? Well, they need it. These fucking morons. Have you seen them? It's unbelievable. Doesn't feel so magnanimous. Fuck them.
Hello, white man here to save you. That's what I do.
Yeah.
I'm broadening my horizons by wading in amongst the idiots. So
Bunch of butcher's apprentices, if you ask me.
while he's there, he actually gets very strong anti-colonial views.
I thought you were going to say he just gets really strong. That was
He
exciting.
just starts lifting, fucking lifting. He's doing squats. Back in England, he goes back to England. He keeps running for office.
Okay.
So there he is.
Wow.
He loses twice more. He
Look at
just
those
keeps
mics.
losing. Nobody apparently likes him.
Right.
Then in 1957, he's finally elected to Parliament as an MP for Wednesbury for the Cooperative Labour Party. In 1959, he goes back to Rhodesia. He goes to Rhodesia. He'd been in Uganda. He goes to Rhodesia, and he gives a speech to 1,500 members of the Southern Rhodesia African Congress. And he said he was against a federation run by whites and asked them to have patience. Quote, I ask you to particularly not use violence, have pride in your country, and do not do anything of which you might be ashamed. And because he said that, the white people were fucking livid.
He's saying that to the white people?
No, he's saying that to the black people.
Right, he's like, they're-
don't do anything crazy.
Right.
Don't use violence. And the white people were like, fuck you!
Really out of character for the whites. Is this the first time that's happened?
I've never heard of this. The most rational people on earth
Normally so
occasionally.
balanced and helpful.
Yeah. Headlines scream, MP tells Africans we are with you, so they're just fucking mad.
So that's terrible. Yeah. Unbelievable.
Yeah. They're also mad that night he had dinner with 3 black guys.
Oh, my gosh. Can you imagine?
In Africa.
Unbelievable.
At midnight, he was woken up and told he had been declared a prohibited immigrant.
How was your fucking dinner? Worth it? Get out, you fool. Hope it was lovely.
So they put him on a plane that night.
Get out. Leave.
He's sent back to England.
Go back to England.
Now, so he goes back to his life in England. He's an MP. He's still taking long swims at Southampton and disappearing.
Oh, my Lord, we've lost him again. No, baby.
It would always scare the Barbara and the kids. They'd always be freaked out.
Well, the kids, because of Barbara, they weren't just like
Yeah.
instinctually, like she was like, kids, listen, your father's dead again. I'm 100%. It's been an hour and a half.
Mummy?
Yes, we need to move on. Hug your teddy. That's your daddy now.
Mummy, wasn't he dead last week?
Yes, he died last week and the week prior. Oh, he's so dead this time, though. I know I keep sounding that bell quickly, but move on. He's gone.
When is he going to start just swimming parallel to the beach? Stop going out, you fucking idiot.
He probably got a kick out of it. Probably made him feel great. Come back and be like, oh my God, that's right. Another miraculous battle achieved. How did you do it? I fought off all the water again, darling. Yes, it's me. How great am I now?
Do you think that's why he didn't get voted in for a long time? They're like, what do you like doing? And he's like, swimming in England? And they're like, you're fucking mental, mate. We can't have you.
Yeah.
Not to be trusted.
So in 1964, after 13 years of Tory rule, Harold Wilson became the new Labour Prime Minister. John was made Parliamentary Labour Secretary to the Minister of Aviation. So he was responsible for promoting export of aircrafts and aircraft technologies. He spent time in Saudi Arabia trying to get a contract there. He met with government representatives in Czechoslovakia. So after this, John was made the Undersecretary for State of the Colonies. That's you guys.
Whoa.
While he was the Undersecretary, he enjoyed rescuing nations and acting as a benevolent representative of the mother country.
Okay.
So helping out the dirty little colonies.
Right. Okay. Thanks for putting it like that.
In 1960s...
What, you have 2 gin and tonics there?
Yeah.
Is that what you're rocking?
I'm rocking gin and tonics.
That is out of character.
I
want to talk about it after the show.
He heard how I beat COVID.
Yeah,
Thought there's only one way.
Yeah.
So in 1967, he was then promoted to Postmaster General. There he is with the Queen, looking at stamps.
She's not interested. Oh, shut the fuck up, would you? And you see, this one's actually 2p, which is twice as much as the 1p one, is that? Your Majesty, you've got that glazed-over look again.
Fuck off!
I'd just like to walk you through this now. This will probably blow your mind a bit. Put the crown on to keep your brain inside your head. This is stamp is worth 3p, Your Majesty. 3p. Look at that. And it's a bird. Isn't that amazing? Gosh.
No, it's not. These are fucking stamps.
I could talk to you all day about stamps, Your Majesty.
Please don't.
I love our chats.
I don't.
And this goes on the envelope, you understand?
Yes, I fucking know what a
And
fucking
then that would be
stamp is.
mailed, and the postman would identify whether that was enough postage. Now, if it were to get even more complicated, I would recommend a trip to the post office. Now, let's say you want to use 5p. Why, there's not a 5p stamp, you're saying. Well, let me assure you of something there. You're just a little maths problem away from solving that. Take a 2p and a 3p, you're right where you want to be.
John came up with the idea of second-class stamps, but then the position was abolished as the post office became a publicly owned corporation.
Bloody hell.
In 1968, John was called to meet Prime Minister Wilson because John had been accused of being a spy for Czechoslovakia.
We want you to put this plane in your airport. No one will notice.
I know how many stamps it's going to take to
It's
get
the
there.
only way to get it there. But if only someone knew the postage. Actually, I might be able to just come in service for that.
He was accused of selling a communist Czechoslovakia confidential information about aviation secrets.
Sure.
So John just denied it, and then the prime minister never brought it up again. He's like, all right.
Well, that was a better time. Did you do this? No. Well, sorry to keep you, old chap. On your way. What a good bloke.
1970, Labour lost the general election, and they were back in opposition. John became a strong advocate for an independent Bangladesh. Now, Bangladesh's independence fight was brutal. It was very fucking bloody. But in December 1971, they won victory.
Okay.
Became independent. Now, and so he made a lot of connections in the Bangladeshi world at that
Sure.
point. John was always worried about money because an MP salary he didn't think was enough to take care of his little family, which are now 3.
Oh.
So now he had 3 kids. He now that he's no longer in government, he's using his connections to set up businesses.
That's unheard
Different
of.
businesses. Different businesses like one is called Export Promotion, another one consultancy services, Global MX, so just a bunch of different businesses.
Oh, is he the first wanker? Incredible.
Now you've spoiled it. Now I know where we're going.
And he was very instrumental in starting a new Bangladeshi bank called BBT.
The Bangladesh.
The Bangladesh. He had tons of connections with Bangladeshi living in Britain. So in 1974, the Labour Party wins back control by just 1 seat. But John is not invited back by Wilson. Wilson publicly said he's not happy with how John performed as Postmaster General.
The Queen hated him.
Which,
now you see.
Postmaster General pointing.
Let's say something costs 7p to mail. Quite a conundrum, you think, eh? You could use, say, 3 2p stamps. You could use a 1p stamp, a 2p stamp, and in addition to 3. You could use 3 2s, 2 3s, or 6 1s. Do you understand?
No, the problem, he was still explaining it, but in a butcher's voice. 2p stamps! Oh, wait, buddy. Fuck, the Queen's here, relax. 5p stamps!
We'll put them on the scale.
Some guy at home, I told you he should have been a butcher.
He's still got the knife. That was quite menacing.
Yeah.
You want to send something?
No, we love your stories of stamps.
But aside from what the Prime Minister said, the spy rumors were still out there. They were still like, that's why he's not back in government.
Interesting.
And then there started to be issues with the British Bangladesh Bank he'd helped set up. Only 10% was supposed to come from the directors, of which he was one, but he had put tons of money into it, so it's overfunded by himself and his companies. So now the authorities are looking into it, and he has to scramble to come up with money to put in the bank so he can pull his money out. So it's just a fucking shit.
That's how we run banks in the States now, though, pretty much.
It's totally fine.
So, okay.
So he's flying all over the world, and he's trying to make deals and trying to get loans and trying to do different stuff.
Jesus.
He's fully fucking panicked. He's really freaking out.
No money, no problems, you know. You imagine owning a bank and you're like, fuck, I need some cash.
Yeah. Jesus Christ, people want money? I'll be right back. Keep them busy till I'm back.
Mate, I know it's a new job you've got, but you have butchered this.
He starts taking a sedative called Mandrax.
That's right.
Which is also known
fuck yeah.
as Quaaludes.
Well, to be fair, there's nothing that Quaaludes don't make easier. Certainly when it comes to running a bank, like, a little Quaaludes ought to help me get through this.
He's like, meth aqualone, that's, it's got meth in it, aqua. I love the water.
Well, that's why he was gone for 2 hours. He is dying. What did she think of that? He's now drowning on land. Quaaluding.
And they don't make Quaaludes anymore because
No,
I
they
can
were
tell you
too
from
good.
experience, they were too fun.
They were too fucking good.
They were too
They were like,
fun.
we made the best thing ever. We got to be done with it.
What did they do? What did Quaaludes do?
It's just fucking giddiness. Like, it's just fun.
It's not fair. They're out there somewhere.
Yeah, they've got to be.
Somewhere.
He was also at the same time taking the benzo Mogadon, so he's on benzos and Quaaludes.
Here we go.
Jesus Christ.
Which-
He looks like such a normal guy.
I know.
The stamp conversation probably took a turn. And then, of course.
And he's doing the Rush Limbaugh thing, which is going to a bunch of different doctors and getting more and more prescriptions. So
Right.
he's
Doctor
getting
shopping.
Yeah,
Yeah.
doctor shopping. He's
Yeah.
doing tons of doctor shopping. So bank auditors and inspectors are looking into his business. They're looking at all the records now.
By the way, can I just say, I really like the injection of Quaaludes into the story.
Yeah.
Feels like now something's happening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In July, inspectors wrote, quote, by mid-July, it was clear to Mr. Stonehouse that the game was up and his countermeasures bore the mark of desperation. He was becoming paranoid and anxious.
Little Quaalude will help with that. Nothing a little Quaalude can't solve.
He called Manor Hospital in Walsall and said he had money to distribute to young widows and needed the names of some widows.
No.
What? It's
the
just a
fuck?
guy looking for widows. What could be the problem?
All right, we've got the widow list for you, Fred. Like, well, who the fuck is giving that out?
I would like a list of widows, please.
Absolutely. 1 second here. All right, how many do you need?
Oh, God, I need them all.
All right, we've
I
got
need all the
Barbara
widows.
Stansdale. She's on Hawthorne Road.
All right.
Cassie Beatrice. She's really grieving.
They wanted me to be a butcher.
Sorry?
Butcher.
Butch her?
They wanted me to be a butcher.
Let me just get through the list, then you can communicate what you're trying to say to me. How's that?
Right.
All right.
Let me pop a couple Quaaludes first.
I'll just keep talking to you then, shall I?
Yes.
Keep the list of names going, yes?
Yes.
Fantastic.
Yell
yes.
if one's prettier.
All right. I guess now's the time to ask why you need the widow list again. You want to give them money?
Yeah, I want to give them money.
Right. Well, your story checks out. Let's keep going. Let's hit the C's now, shall we? Angie Cartwright. Gosh, she's sad. And a lot of these, we're not sure if they're dead. Their husbands could be swimming in the ocean. Bit of that going around, isn't there?
When I was a little kid, my mum told me that people die in alphabetical order, and I could check the newspaper.
Wow. Mum, how does that happen?
Yeah.
Why didn't you call me Zion Zakowski? Sorry, Nick.
Your parents are really the best.
That's amazing.
Now, he got the list, and on Saturday morning, he visited the widow of Donald Clive Muldoon. And they talked, and at some point, he asked her if she'd ever gone abroad. And she said, yes,
This
we
motherfucker.
went to Australia in 1971. So besides having a conversation with Donald Clive Muldoon's widow, he also had a conversation with the widow of Joseph Markham.
Oh, boy.
And then sometime after that, John got the birth certificates of Clive Muldoon and Joseph Markham.
Okay. Taking a very bad turn.
Yeah.
I don't think he wants to take these women on trips.
And then he got a passport in Markham's name.
What the it's not good. Is he still looting it up?
Yeah.
Looting it up?
Yeah.
You mean trying to get the money?
Quaaluding, babe.
Oh, yeah, no, he's fully on Quaaludes and
He's
benzos.
Quaaluding,
He's
right.
100%.
Passports in different names. Is this the Born Identity?
Yeah.
Is this- When they found him out in the ocean, he was just swimming.
That's right. I mean, swimming, shot, floating. Yeah.
That's swimming. That's a great way to remember it. You mean that early scene where he was swimming?
He opens 2 bank accounts
Sure.
under Markham's name.
Sure. Probably not at the Bangladesh bank, I would
No.
guess.
and starts depositing money, saying he was considering emigrating to Australia. This guy, Joseph Markham. He deposited around $20,000. He got an American Express card from having the bank account. He opened a Swiss bank account with checks from John Stonehouse. So he deposited checks from himself. He wrote checks from himself to Joseph Markham and deposited them in Swiss bank.
Okay.
And this is all on Quaaludes.
Yeah, it's actually...
He's doing well.
This fucking guy who was like, he should be a butcher's apprentice. It's like, dude, this guy is going to commit bank fraud on Ludes.
Yeah, it's amazing.
You no longer tell people what job placement is going.
I once got so drunk I couldn't mentally keep up with the 30 for 30 documentary. And this guy is...
Which one?
It was an ice hockey one. It was like, what, 3
fuck
periods?
that.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I know quarters and halves. Fuck this.
No, you can't even figure out offsides in that fucking sport.
I've got to lie down.
All right. Says the guy who got drunk playing Halo with a baby on an ottoman. Yeah. Never seen Dave empathize so hard with anything. Oh, you can't figure that out. Nick, you're a hero for trying.
A couple of days later, Private Eye magazine, which was apparently a big magazine, I looked it up, Private Eye magazine, wrote, quote, 2 Labour MPs are at present under investigation by the special branch for their connections with an East European embassy. I should point out that the Czech embassy, which covers espionage and dirty tricks for the whole Soviet bloc, allocates $20,000 a month for those who might prove useful.
If you're going to commit bank fraud with bad checks I feel like Czechoslovakia is just so obvious.
But this is a message. So someone is directly saying, we know you just deposited $20,000. It's literally...
In the spy magazine.
Yeah, they're putting a message in this fucking magazine.
Yeah, don't deposit the exact amount they've given you for the crime. It's like robbing a bank for $2 million and then depositing the exact same amount in another bank.
Yeah. And plus, Private Eye Mag, like, is anyone like, hey, don't print that?
No, well...
It is like a dog whistle based?
I think they're trying to,
Right.
So...
But if he doesn't read it, they're like, damn it. All right. Put it on his porch. Bloody hell. Put it on his chest when he's having a lewd nap.
He had money transferred to a branch in Melbourne. And then on August 10th, he won his parliamentary seat by a large margin.
Who the fuck is voting for... I mean, honestly...
On the 19th, he withdrew $60,000 from his John Stonehouse accounts. Then, as Markham, he shipped a metal trunk of belongings to Australia.
Well, we've all done that.
Wow. He works for the post office. That's unnecessary luggage weight.
Yeah.
So you could send a lot more if the trunk's not metal.
Well, I put 1 3p in. How many more did you say that I needed?
How long have I been at the post office? My wife is getting worried.
Yeah. What is his wife up? I mean, his wife is like, gosh, John, you've seemed a bit distant lately.
She genuinely thinks everything's okay. He's just a little stressed over money, but she thinks everything's
not seeing,
fine.
like, bottles of Quaaludes anywhere.
She's not queuing into anything. I mean, there's a little bit of,
Sounds like a butcher's apprentice to me.
In early November, John flew to Miami. And he was going to the Miami bank to discuss them buying stock in BBT. So the next day, he drives to the airport, and he buys a ticket. So when he's in Miami, he drives to the airport. He buys a ticket to Houston under the name George Lewis.
Doesn't need to. Does he need to do that, or
Nope.
is he just... No.
And that's a new name.
Yeah, it's just a totally new name.
He's
When
just now... He's just, like, looting himself into different people.
Yeah.
It's amazing that it was that easy back then, too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, no one checked.
Huh?
No one checked. I
Yeah,
don't
that's
think
what I
you
mean,
need
though.
ID.
I know. It's amazing to just be like...
It's like getting on a bus.
I mean, I would have just done that for fun.
Yeah.
You know?
I'm Frank Timmons.
All right, Frank. And what seat would you like? Yeah.
5.
All right, Frank. There you are.
When he was in Miami, did he get a montage like Scarface? He deserves it.
He does.
He's going to the bank, opening businesses.
Yeah.
Push it
Face
to the
and
limit.
lewds.
So he buys a suitcase and clothes, and he puts them in a luggage locker along with the Markham passport.
He's being a bit erratic, Dave.
He took the clothes to the hotel beach and hid them in a phone kiosk.
We've all done that. Yeah, I
So
mean,
he
that's
takes-
a great place to hide your
He
clothes.
takes a set of clothes and
It's
he puts
called
them...
the Superman.
And then he goes to the meeting he was supposed to go to.
I'm sure he was in a normal state when he showed up to the meeting. They were probably like, this guy's fine and normal. Where are your clothes? Don't worry, I put them in a phone booth. Hi, I'm George Lewis. I'm sorry. Whoo!
I'm John Lewis. So they do not buy stock.
What? Pitch probably went real quick.
After he goes to the beach, he changes into a swimsuit, he goes to the beach,
I'll be back in 2 hours.
and he goes to one of his famous swims.
Uh-huh.
And he
Cuba?
left his shirt and his shoes out on the beach and then went into the water.
Uh-huh.
And he swam over to where he had stashed his clothes and changed.
What the fuck is going on?
And then he went out to the road and hailed a taxi and went to the airport.
If someone is watching him, they're like, what the fuck is like... It seems like he's got an amazing plan, but really he's just looted up, just like, now for a costume change. What's he doing? I don't need those shoes anymore.
So he goes to the airport, he gets the suitcase that he left there, and he flies to Houston, and
I'm
then
John Lewis.
and then he flies to Mexico City.
That's right, under a different name.
Now the plan was to catch a plane to Sydney.
Why is he going to these places?
In Mexico City, but he missed it by a couple hours, and then the next flight.
That's called lewd late.
And the next flight was a week later. To
What
Sydney.
a different time.
That's when planes went once a week.
Yeah.
So he flies instead to Los Angeles.
Of course. I'm going to be an actor.
And now he's kind of losing it. And he
You're telling me this might get bizarre soon?
Oh. I can see cracks forming.
Can you display some evidence of why he's losing it?
his plan's falling apart.
It's planned.
So in L.A., he calls Barbara.
Hey, I'm almost back to shore.
Well, she said that it is garbled and short, and he said he couldn't take it anymore.
Okay, pretty clear.
Now, he had planned to be in Los Angeles after Miami, so it wasn't weird that he was calling from Los Angeles. So she didn't know that he had just faked his death in Miami.
Oh, what the fuck? Oh, my God. By the way, I might be calling you to hit on you, right? Very quickly. You're a bit of a widow. My name is John Lewis. Gosh, you seem good.
So at this point, he decides to go back to London. Mm-hmm. So he flies to Atlanta, and then then to Miami.
Yeah.
Right, of course, a normal, right.
And then goes back to the hotel, and no one knew he'd been missing.
Yeah.
So he goes back to his room and just goes to sleep.
So, he's not dead.
No, absolutely no one knew or cared that he was gone.
So he kind of just expected someone to be like, whose shoes are these?
Yes.
This
must
man's
be dead.
This man died. Shoes and a shirt? That is so much to go through to not actually fake your own death.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've seen this CSI Miami.
Right.
So when he woke up, he said the reality of his life, quote, the horror of it hit me like a sledgehammer. So.
Where did he go?
He got his Markham clothes, and then he went and took a swim in the ocean.
I mean, honestly, the only thing that makes sense about this guy is the amount of time he wants to spend in the ocean.
And then it hit him. Quote,
a boat. Now he's really dead.
quote, I could definitely see it all clearly now. Stonehouse must definitely die.
Well, I mean, didn't he already come to that realization? He already tried to kill himself the day before.
Yeah, but now he really knows
I
it.
got a good idea. I should fake my own death again. This time for real. Stonehouse must die.
First step, fly to Samoa for no reason.
Yeah. Via Detroit. I'm going to leave a sombrero in the beach. They'll know who it belongs to. I'll write my name on it. Yes.
That's how looted up he is. He goes for a swim in Miami. They're like, that man must be dead. Nobody would ever swim here in Miami.
Okay, so he gets out of the ocean.
This is most of how the stories begin.
He goes around to where he hid his clothes. He goes out to the road and hails a taxi. And then he goes to the airport. There are no flights to California, so he takes one to Chicago.
Well, that's pretty close to what I just said.
Yeah.
And then,
starts with a C.
Yeah, if he goes to Samoa.
And then from there he flies to San Francisco.
Normal.
While he's on the plane,
Does he know how to get back?
he's not going back.
Okay.
He cries on the plane.
Sure.
And he goes in the bathroom, and he's crying, and he's upset, and he yelled at himself in the mirror.
Uh-huh.
He lands in San Francisco.
Uh-huh.
He goes to one of the fanciest hotels there.
Sure.
And he said he felt like he had to cut the umbilical cord with himself.
What? I mean, for fuck, like... Okay.
So...
That's obviously before men went to the births.
Yeah.
That's right.
It's not still attached, mate.
So he buys a ticket back to Miami.
What I really
You're telling
want,
me he doesn't have a montage. This is montage.
I just want to see one of those, like, map graphics with the plane.
Yeah. It's where in the world is Carmen Sandiego?
Yeah.
And then he flew back to Miami. Again, no one at the hotel noticed he had been gone. And then he had faked his death.
Yeah.
Twice.
But I feel like he doesn't understand that you need to, like, make people realize you're like, you blow up a car that you're in or something.
Yeah.
He's just going into the ocean and expecting a lifeguard to be like, he's been gone for a while.
Yeah. He's not doing it very well.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay? And he's taking a lot of flights.
A lot of flights.
Right. To not be considered dead.
So at this point, he decides to fly back to London. And he lands in London, and he goes straight to his office, to the House of Commons, and just acted like everything was normal.
Awesome.
So he just went on, like, a 2-week fake his own death
It was like
tour.
5 days.
And he went on fake his own death. It didn't work twice, so he visited most big cities, and then he just came back and went to work.
That's right.
Okay. Okay.
How was the trip, mate? Trips.
Yeah.
It was trips. Multiple.
You feel relaxed, John?
Yeah.
Yes, I suppose.
Now, the reason he might have come back was because 2 days later, it was Barbara and John's 26th wedding anniversary.
I got you me. I got you what we call lasso pearls.
They celebrated at their favorite restaurant and had dinner.
I don't remember much of it.
She says she had absolutely no idea
Wow.
there were any financial troubles or that he was having any sort of mental health problems.
And he would go for a swim and she'd freak out. And then he's doing all this and she's like, gosh, we're hitting that lovely patch.
On the 19th.
Look at how looted up he is in that picture.
Yeah.
That's right. Get the olive oil, baby.
Let's go to the fucking airport.
Yeah.
You want to die with me? On the 19th, he flew back to Miami.
Start your summer road trip at Midas and get up to $30 off your next repair service. Plus, get a free closer look vehicle check to make sure you're road trip ready. If you need brake service, an alignment check, or tune-up, hit up Midas for up to $30 off. For more details, request your appointment at Midas.com.
Well, is there a reason why it has to happen in Miami? No, he's just like, that's where I see myself faking my own death.
I want to go to
I've
Melbourne.
always envisioned it there.
This time he went with a business partner, Jim Charlton.
Now I'm going to go for a swim, Jim. If I'm not back in 2 hours. I mean, really, the whole thing is he's trying to fake his own death in the ocean, and his wife kept thinking he was dying in the ocean. He just needs to take his wife, who freaks out every time he goes in the fucking ocean.
That's right.
But instead, he just does it alone, and now he's like, I'll bring a friend.
I mean, she knows he's stressed out.
Sure, but I mean, there's a difference between stressed out and like, well, I tried to kill myself twice and came up with 3 fake names, but where do you want to eat for our big anniversary, babe?
She was hoping Jim would be there to help him calm him down with the business stuff. So on November 20th, John went for a swim around sunset. And he did not return.
For 5 minutes.
His friend went to check on him in his room. No answer.
It'd be great if he was in the room.
Then they found his clothes on the beach. Right? So he had a friend
They
with
were
him
like,
this time.
boy, there's a lot of his clothes on the beach. I don't remember him having 3 sets of outfits, but he's got 2 pairs of mandals, a regular pair of shoes, 2 hats, 5 shirts. Who's John Lewis?
And then the police were called. After 2 days, the FBI was called. John had hopped on a flight to San Francisco, then flown to Honolulu.
Sick.
Wow.
Where he was
Honolulu.
staying in a hotel in Waikiki. And from there, he called his secretary, Sheila.
Hello, Sheila. It's the ghost. Any messages? Really? I'll call him back, yes. I know I died in Miami 3 days ago.
Or maybe he meant to like the Aussie slang. That's how they knew something was wrong. It's like, g'day, Sheila. She's like, well, I'm Margaret. That's...
G'day, Sheila.
So she said he sounded distraught, incoherent, and
Any
suicidal.
reason why?
No.
Oh, okay.
This is the most stressed man who just goes Hawaii, Miami, Hawaii. He's going to all these nice places.
Really
And
nice
he's-
places.
With Quaaludes, and he's having a shit time.
Yeah. It is a bummer.
If you can't have a good time in Waikiki, you're fucked up. But he told Sheila, don't call my family and tell them.
I mean, I think if you fake your own death, part of the thing is you shut down communication. You don't just pick like a few people you're going to call and then sort of shield your wife from it. Hello, Sheila. Look, people will probably be wondering if I'm dead. And if they are, I am. Anyone ring? How's the Queen?
And then he flew to Sydney and then to Melbourne.
Yeah, well, he's a great guy.
He had all the paperwork that he needed to immigrate. The immigration officer stamped his papers and said, quote, "You are one of us now." Congratulations.
Really rigorous.
Another fucking criminal.
And then, by the way, it took us like 4 hours to get through the airport 5 days ago. And this guy just brought like one piece of paper, and they're like, wow, you're a citizen now, mate. That's right, I am. Thank you so much. You're going back on the plane. No, sorry. Gosh, us Aussies sure have a bad sense of direction, don't we? So that's why they call it a down under, probably. Christ almighty. Is the floor pattern always movable? Seems a bit melty, doesn't it, mate?
Mate, you're holding up the line.
Oh, the line. Let me ask you something, licorice fingers.
Could you move along, sir?
I move along when the carpet begins to settle. Yes, that should have been a butcher's apprentice. What do you reckon the ocean's thinking? Almighty. I died in Miami 3 times last week. Anyway, what's the fun stuff to do in Waikiki?
I would love it if he was still in a swimsuit the whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm here for Australia. Yeah. So his bank account has $24,000 in it.
Ooh, that's some good news, isn't it? Forgot about that.
And remember, this is under the name Joseph Markham, so he tries to now open up a name under Clive Muldoon's name, but he doesn't have a passport for Muldoon. He tells him at the bank he's moving to New Zealand. So basically what he does is he ends up walking a bunch of times between 3 banks, trying to get business done, move money around, in 2 days, within 2 days of arriving. So all the bank managers are like, what in the fuck is this guy doing? And they call the police.
Oh, why, I wonder?
And it's nothing in the Australian papers about him dying. So there's no internet, so he has no idea what in the fuck is happening.
What do you mean? He doesn't know that
He doesn't know what's happened with the reports of his death. Like, do they think he's dead?
Follow up on that?
He can't. He's in Australia. If there's no newspapers that are reporting it, then how's he supposed to know?
Well, that's again why you do a big, again, I just picture a car exploding. Just would be great. It would really work effectively.
I mean, there's reports in the U.S. papers are following it, sort of. They don't really care.
But he has no clue. But who is he going around as now?
He is sometimes Clive Muldoon and sometimes Joseph Markham.
Okay. But he's acting like he has died.
Yeah. What?
He's acting like he has died.
Yeah.
But he just doesn't know if it's confirmed.
Yes.
I'm beginning to see the Quaalude thread in this a little bit.
So, he flies to Perth, then to Singapore, Bangkok, and then to Copenhagen.
What the fuck? Why?
He spent 4 days wandering around Copenhagen looking for English newspapers to find out what was going on with his death.
It's just exhausting. Couldn't he just call his office as someone else? Hello, my name is Bishop McCallan. Is he in?
Maybe he couldn't do accents, so maybe he calls up and he's like, "It's a spicy meatball, huh?" And they don't know what that means.
Nobody does.
Or he calls up and he goes, "Hello, Governor!"
You're enabling.
But he is horrified to read the stories about what everyone's saying.
So he does find a story in Copenhagen.
Yes.
In an English paper. I feel like he could have found an English paper somewhere closer.
I mean, he was looking in Australia, but he couldn't find it anywhere. He couldn't find anything that had anything about him.
I mean, it's like there's a close connection. It feels like he could have found out.
Yeah. So a week after he disappeared, Barbara told the press the FBI thought he had drowned. Quote,
I saw this coming. Ever since the first time he went swimming, I knew it.
The FBI, quote, it was pretty obvious to us.
Yeah. 3 shoes, 2 hats, 5 shirts. We know what we're dealing with.
That is one dead guy out there.
That's one drowned individual.
I mean, he looks like he drowned 4 or 5 times out here.
If I didn't know any better.
She also said, Barbara said, rumors that their 26-year marriage was on the rocks were, quote, thoroughly distasteful, offensive, and utterly untrue.
Oh, we've never been stronger.
And there were now also, the papers were reporting financial troubles. She said, that's not true. John's a man of integrity.
Of course.
So John was then declared dead, presumed drowned. Mm-hmm. No body was found. Barbara and the kids are devastated, but they're like, he took fucking long swims. Like, that was his thing.
That's how I knew. I tried to warn him.
A minute's silence was held at the Houses of Parliament. And then a Bangladesh lawyer claimed $1 million was missing from a Bangladesh relief fund, and John was one of 3 trustees. The Observer wrote, quote, asked to explain why he believes this, Mr. Huck shrugs and says he cannot prove anything.
Interesting. I don't know.
He went to Miami 3 times in a day and a half.
It seems a little weird.
He
He kept saying goodbye forever when he took off.
The British press then went full-on British press hysteria. The Guardian.
Enemies may have killed Stonehouse. Enemies may... I mean, so they just were like... I mean, it's amazing how effective... This dude is on fucking Quaaludes, and they're just like, gosh, how deep does this go?
The Daily Mirror, quote, there has been suggestions he's been kidnapped.
We think he's still alive,
Now,
but being held hostage
there's so much...
by mer people.
There's so
underwater, near Atlantis. No. How?
There's so much media going after the family that John's secretary, Sheila Buckley, sets up a desk in their front room just to deal with media. And Barbara said she kept finding the kids just sitting on the stairs crying, and they can't leave their house. The Daily Mail wrote that John was pompous and too wealthy. Imagine the Daily Mail writing that someone is too wealthy.
Weird, yeah.
The Sun said John may be, quote, a victim of a mafia plot. They're just making shit up.
Yeah, they have no clue.
They have no fucking clue. They're just completely making shit up. The Daily Mail called John Mr. Fix-It and said he'd made over $1 million in commissions from Bangladesh contracts. Papers wrote that Barbara had taken out a crazy amount of life insurance. A reporter learned John was renting a flat in Westminster and read Barbara a list of women's names who lived there. Now, that one was true.
Right.
And one of those names was his secretary, Sheila Buckley. So Barbara calls to find Sheila. And she goes to this flat, and there she talks to a neighbor, and she learns that John had helped a woman move out at the end of October. And asks her description, it's clearly Sheila. But she can't find Sheila. That's because Sheila
boy, here we go.
was now in Copenhagen.
Of course.
Helping
Reading
him find papers. Yeah.
She went to see John. John had called Sheila and said, quote, they won't let him die. Why won't they let him die?
And she's like, I should get involved in this.
Yeah.
This sounds perfect. Is there something going on?
Yeah.
Okay.
She's talking about, he was obviously talking about himself.
Right.
He wanted her to come to Denmark.
I think I killed myself.
He wanted her to come to Denmark. She said, after he said if she didn't, he would go to London. She's like, okay, I'll fucking come because you're in deep shit.
Yeah, going back to London right now? I think I can pull it off. I just need some of my super pill. I could do anything with super pills.
She flew there and met him at the airport. And now he's just doing nothing to disguise himself. And there's people getting off the plane from England. No one's recognizing him, though. This is when she learned he was going by the name Markham and was going to live in Australia.
Don't worry. Call me Markham. No. I'm an Aussie now.
And then he also said he was Clive Muldoon.
Also, call me Clive Muldoon. I've 2 names.
After a day together, she flew back to London, and he went back to Australia, where he took out a 3-month lease on a flat on Flinders Street. And then he just started living his life. A few days later, Barbara tracked down Sheila. Quote, from the look in her eyes, she was terrified.
But Barbara was.
No, Sheila's terrified.
She's like, yeah, I know, it sucks. How are we going to move on without him? I'm sure he's in a better, well, maybe not a better place, but he's somewhere different, that's for sure. He's certainly not in Copenhagen looking for papers.
Is Flinders Street nice?
Well, then it looked pretty good.
Yeah.
It's a bit different now.
She asked Sheila if they were having an affair, and Sheila just started sobbing.
No.
And then Barbara said John has always had affairs, and he always came back. And then
I call, when he sleeps with others, it's like the ocean. He'll be back just after everything's wet.
And then Sheila blurted out that she thought she was pregnant.
Oh, jeez.
It's a pill bottle.
Imagine doing all of that You've done all of those things. Miami 3 times, Chicago, California, Mexico,
Waikiki.
Australia, back, Waikiki, Perth,
Atlanta.
Singapore. And you're like, I think I'm getting away with it.
And then you
And
just
the mistress is like, I think I'm pregnant. Fuck.
tell him it's a ghost.
And then Barbara said,
What?
quote, if John does turn up and you've gotten rid of it, it will make him very upset. He loves children.
What is Barbara is there's some problems with Barbara too. I mean, for that's a crazy take.
That is the craziest of takes. Well, don't get rid of it.
If he comes back, he'll love it. Don't you see? It can all be okay still. I mean, that's all she's doing. It could be fine. It'll be okay, won't it? Could you put it in my tummy? Let's just keep pitching.
Is she on the lewds now? This sounds like she's on the lewds.
I've been taking his magic pills.
Keep it or the dead guy will be sad.
Do you understand?
Don't make the ghost angry.
Yeah.
A couple of days later, the Sun reports that John has gotten a concrete overcoat from the mob.
What?
It's when they put it's like a.
It fits pretty good, doesn't it?
It's heavy, but yeah, I like it.
There you go.
It's very warm.
Try taking it for a swim, dumb shit. There you go. Huh? How do you like that?
That's a bad idea.
That's right, yeah.
That's why he's jacked. It's all that heavy shit he's wearing. He's got a concrete coat and a fucking metal suitcase.
Hey, I think that might have been too heavy for him to swim with.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
We're going to need to rethink this whole business model.
Hey,
Another
Joe,
guy
ahead.
drowned.
Get in there. Pull him out.
All right, let me get on my concrete saving gear. Oh, no.
A couple of days later, the Daily Mirror called it a concrete coffin probe.
No, we've come back with our own evidence. It was not a jacket at all. They put him in a concrete coffin. Anyway, job well done, I think. One more lewd and we'll come up with the next story.
So Barbara was asked to find some hair samples of John's and send them to Florida.
No problem. We got a lot. I kept a lot of his hair. We've got it. What would you like, front or back?
So he's now being connected to he's being connected to the death of a Nigerian guy who drowned in the Thames. And then they start reporting John was being watched by the Secret Service for being a Czech spy. Some thought he'd swum to Cuba, or not swum to Cuba, that he'd swum out to a Cuban submarine and then got on it and went to Cuba.
By the way, swimming to Cuba makes as much sense. Sorry, not swimming to Cuba. He swam to a Cuban submarine and then rode it like a skateboard to Cuba. Huh. We're going to do it right here.
And he's just barbecuing in cricket gear on Flinders Street. Going, I have fucking nailed this.
Some telescopes have picked him up on the surface of the moon. Well, he's just like, blah, 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 blah. Gosh, he's a genius. He's 2 steps ahead of everyone. I think I'll have a poo in this bucket. Gosh, how do we keep track of this one?
The Daily Mail wondered if he was working for the CIA.
Obviously.
Now, back in Australia, John went to the New Zealand bank and tried to open an account again. And again, they told him he needed a passport. He was trying to open one under Clive's name.
Well, at least that is good.
So, remember, the cops had been called. So a police detective had talked to the banks, and they were now following John for like 2 or 3 hours a day just to see what he was up to.
And he doesn't know, and he's just like, another shrewd move by me.
Yeah, everyone's just like, what the fuck is this guy doing? Because none of it makes sense.
Yeah.
So they're just like, is he a terrorist, like a criminal? What is he?
If only they could just find the Quaaludes.
Oh, he's a party boy.
It's like a brilliant plan to them. They're like, gosh, he's really, really doing well. Meanwhile, he's just like, blah, blah, blah. Woo-hoo! Why do you think he's spinning on his back in the park singing? It's obviously a signal. He's sending something to one of the ships in the... I think it could be satellite-based. Yes. Blue, 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 blue. Yeah, there's something with that apple he's putting up his bum. Woo! I'm an apple tree.
That's where they got the sound of the modem later on. It was just him.
Gives me an idea.
That's for the older people in the crowd. You hear people like, sound of a modem?
It's unbelievable. Disrespectful. Don't make us do fax jokes.
So he opened more accounts. At this point...
That's smart. Throw more accounts at this problem for sure. That's the problem, is there's not enough accounts.
So at this point, he has 7 accounts.
Good.
In 4 banks under
Great.
2 names.
Great. It's fine. And there's no way he's keeping these fucking names straight.
No. I'm Jim Markham.
Mm-hmm.
Barbara.
Your name's Barbara?
Barb.
Okay.
Sheila Barbara.
Okay.
I'm in the
Markham.
I'm in the Air Force as a butcher of economics. Well, that'll add up.
If this ends with him working at a butcher shop.
So the cops, quote, "We thought we had a big international criminal on our hands." And they're just intrigued. So they search his flat without a warrant. If you can believe that.
Come in, gentlemen.
Yeah. Can we look around through everything? Ooh, who sent you? Space dog? Sure. Go ahead. I'm going to wash my hair in the toilet.
No, he's not there. They just went in and searched his place.
I know.
Oh.
We're having some fun.
I just had to clear it up.
Yeah. No.
That would have been ludicrous.
Way ludicrous.
The cops also said, quote, "He was never without his dark glasses and never without his hat. He was watching television."
Well, in case he wants to fake his own death on the fly, just throw it on the ground. Well, I've died again. He passed away again.
Quote, "He was watching television with his hat and glasses on inside."
Seems kind of...
Because the future's too bright.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That feels Australian.
As Clive Muldoon, he moved to an apartment and he joined the Victorian Jazz Club and the local chess club.
You're telling me this fucking dude is playing chess? I mean, in a way, he sort of is.
Yeah.
Jazz?
Jazz and chess.
I'm going to move my queen into checkmate.
You're at jazz practice.
I'm going to move my queen left and right and back.
Hey, I like where this guy's going. Follow me. Boom, 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 boom. That's right. I died twice, maybe 3 times, on the beaches of Miami. Boom, 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 boom. Maybe I did, maybe I didn't. Waikiki is the place for boom, 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 boom. If you want to die, just get rid of your shoes. Boom, 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 boom. Get in the little plane with lots of quaaludes. Boom, 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 boom.
On Christmas Eve, he took a train to St. Kilda
Hold on.
to get some mail from an old address, after which he, quote, accidentally bumped into
Himself. Who the fuck are you? I'm Miami, you. I like your style, me. Let's do it. As the police are like, what is happening? Okie dokie. Ooh.
We've got to kill both of us. I need 7 hats, 18 shoes.
Let's run into each other and become Clive again. You got a deal, Johnny. Woo!
And still not the loosest unit in St. Kilda. That's the...
No, but what he said was that he accidentally stumbled into
Greg
the
Fleet.
red lights district. So as he bought a train ticket back to the CBD, 3 cops jumped on him. Quote, Mr. Markham, don't worry now, it's all over.
Maybe. Yes, that's who I am. Dr. Markham.
Supposedly,
This is where projects come to life. Our showrooms are designed to inspire with the latest products from top brands, curated in an inviting, hands-on environment, and a team of industry experts to support your project. We'll be there to make sure everything goes as planned, from product selection to delivery coordination. At Ferguson Bath, Kitchen and Lighting Gallery, your project is our priority.
See the latest designs from your favorite brands, including signature hardware, at your local Ferguson showroom.
at the St. Kilda police station, a cop asked him to drop his pants.
You're going to pretend I'm dead, aren't you? Nice try.
Because they were looking for a birthmark. Because a British aristocrat, Lord Lucan, had disappeared after murdering his child's nanny, who he had mistaken for his wife.
I'm sorry. Okay. Sorry.
Well,
I feel like I took a lewd. So, will you say what you said one more time?
So,
Sorry that I'm getting a little confused.
So he has a birthmark in his genital area, and so they asked him to take off his pants,
Right.
because they thought he might be this guy,
Right.
Lord Lucan, who had disappeared after he killed his child's nanny, who he thought was his wife. Yeah. So he was looking through a window, and he thought he saw his wife, and he shot and killed her, but then he went in and it was his nanny.
Oh, that's a fun ending. You killed the nanny. Oh, damn it. I mean, oh, whoops. Oh, hi, hon. Oh. Okay.
So they think it's him because the world is looking for him.
Right.
Clive doesn't have a birthmark, though.
So the whole time they're following him,
They think it's
they're
this guy.
chasing this kid. So they're just like, And then he's like, he's like, I don't know what took you so long. I'm really inebriated. And then they're like, you're free to go, mate. What? You're not who we thought you were. Okay.
Let's see your dick.
Okay.
I know it's small, but I've been in the ocean a lot.
Yeah.
More than most men.
So they start.
Keep looking. Keep looking.
They start grilling him, and they have his names from the bank. They're like, "Are you Clive Muldoon? Are you Joe Markham? Why did you go to St. Kilda?" He says nothing.
No, nothing.
And then they say, "We believe you are John Stonehouse. Is that true?"
Who? Who's that? Sounds like a bit of a made-up name. I heard that guy left his clothes on the beach. He's clearly perished.
And he says yes.
Oh, man.
Oh.
Felt like he could have pushed back a little more.
Now, on New Year's Eve, Barbara and the kids are wrapping presents, and the phone rings.
Who's wrapping presents on New Year's Eve? For next year's Christmas. Ooh. Hopefully someone gets us a calendar next year. Could come in quite handy.
Jane answers, his daughter Jane, and she said, quote, "Daddy, is that really you?" And then Barbara grabs the phone, and John
How was
says,
the ocean?
There's a place here called Tits. I wouldn't have opened with that.
John tells her he's in Melbourne at the detention
Good
station.
news. I'm okay, kind of.
He's at a detention center, and he asks her if she will come to Australia. So she's relieved. She's overjoyed.
I can't believe she's like, it really is fucked up that she's like, excited to see him.
Well, she thought he was dead.
I understand. That might have been better.
Your mistress has a child. Don't worry, I saved it.
Don't worry.
No.
We're living together.
Fucking hell.
The BBC picked us up as a reality show.
Moments later, a journalist showed up at the door and offered to pay for the trip for an exclusive
That's
to her
pretty
story.
convenient. That guy was obviously had a satellite dish in a van out front.
Yeah,
or
well,
something.
someone must have called him from Australia.
Right.
She had to take him up on it because John had emptied all of the money out of their accounts.
What about George?
Clive put money in, so it's
Okay,
complicated.
all right, fine, you're right.
So Barbara gets on the first flight she can that night, and she's with 2 reporters from the Daily Express.
That's really weird.
Well, they paid.
I know, but still to be like, you sit middle. Let's catch up. Pretty long fucking flight, to be honest.
It wasn't until she was sitting on the plane that she realized John had left and put them through a lot of pain, faking his death.
Wait a minute. He's not a good bloke. I'm going to have some stern words with him when I get down under.
I think I want a divorce.
Who's not getting laid tonight?
Children, unwrap one of the gifts. We shan't need that in 358 days.
Please be a new husband. Please be a new... No, a sweater. Lovely.
So she's like, who the fuck does that, right? What kind of person does this?
It is very strange to have a breakthrough. Like, I mean, I guess it's like the level of trauma she's taking on. She's just like in denial the whole time. But for the flight to be where she's like, I don't think I want to make this trip. By the way, pretty cramped in this little plane, isn't it?
So she gets to the airport. A police car takes her to the detention center. There's TV cameras. When she sees John, he's...
Hey, what have you been doing? I've been pretty good.
I must have been crying.
Oh, what happened?
Well, you died. You faked.
I know. It's so crazy how I'm back now. I think we should just not talk about this anymore. Move forward.
There's a place in St Kilda called Tits. I know, crazy.
I know where we should move.
She said he was gray and thin, and she sat next to him on the bed, and he burst into tears. Quote, I have never seen him cry before. As he began to talk, I quickly realized that whatever anguish and misery I had suffered myself, his own problems preoccupied him intensely. So that's a nice way of her saying he did not ask about her.
Fair. I've been good.
So there's a hearing, and he was given bail. They're being hounded by the media wherever they go. And John then decides to hold a press conference and has Barbara at his side.
What? The best part is I do have a scrotal birthmark. Isn't that a funny twist?
They didn't look under.
You gotta lift him up to find the treasure. All right, let's open it up to questions. By the way, I'm passing a hat around. Throw some money on that motherfucker. You gotta buy Mama some more pearls.
Now, John tells the press he's never going to return to the UK, the place that caused him so much pain.
That country ruined me.
He called it, quote, a sick society.
It's disgusting what they're doing. They don't even have a tits.
So he just ranted the whole time.
I can only imagine. I mean, to have footage of this.
What a press conference.
I mean...
In January, newspapers were reporting John had been having a long-running affair with Sheila.
Who?
The dead girl?
Wow.
He continued to deny it, but when Barbara confronted him with the articles, John decided this was a good time to write a book. And get his story out there. And Barbara said she would help.
Oh, my God. I mean, being the author assigned to him, like, sorry, so who were you at this point? I'm not sure. I think I might have been George. Anyway, Stonehouse is dead. Or is he? That's where the shoes were. What shoes? The shoes on the beach. And you're there? I'm in Waikiki. When did you go there? After Mexico City, dumbass. Are you listening? It's pretty straightforward, okay? Keep up. I went back to the hotel, and I was alive again. Wait, weren't you just alive there? That was Tuesday. This is Thursday.
Oh, fuck. This is why they call me a ghostwriter.
That's right. Okay.
When did you go to Hawaii? Before and after Miami. What?
In between Miami twice. After Mexico City. Then I hit San Fran. Had to stop by Chicago. Then I became an Australian as soon as I flew in. Are you even understanding? I think I need to get someone who understands me a little bit better.
Oh, you know who understands me the best of these little pills? Hi, guy. Oh.
I needed the newspaper, so of course I went to Denmark.
Yeah. Well, at that point, I needed to find an English-speaking newspaper. Copenhagen seemed like the right decision.
So I opened another 8 bank accounts and I was on my way.
So that's when I became Klaus van Buren, and that's when things got a little interesting. But keep in mind, I was still living in Miami at the time.
Okay, so...
At some point, I impregnated Sheila, too. The time escapes me.
So... It's January now. He's out of prison, but they're just now in Australia, him and Barbara.
Hanging?
And he wants to write a book, so she's like, I'll help you write a book.
What about the kids?
Fuck!
You mean the one with Sheila? No, the other 3. Other 3? Oh, yeah. Oopsie, and the other 2.
So
We should get the queen over here. We always had good banter.
I feel like the 2 oldest daughters are old enough to take care of them. I think they're like 18 or older at this point. The boy is the only one I think who's underage.
Right.
So he's now writing in longhand his book,
God.
giving it to her, and she's typing it up for him.
This is a recipe for cake. Yeah, I think that's how we open.
Page, chapter 4, cake.
Pretty good, huh? Did I not mention this would be an autobiographical cookbook? Genre bending, which I like.
Why in the toughest times of my life were there 14 shoes in the sand?
And then there was one set of footprints when Clive was carrying all of us. Pretty sure. No, maybe that didn't happen.
So now, John's psychiatrist in London
She was like, guess who's going into the ocean for a little while?
recommends that their 14-year-old son, Matthew, fly from London to Australia to be with his parents.
Smart.
Direct.
Smart.
I like
Yep.
it.
Yep.
The idea was to help him regain a sense of responsibility.
I like that you're like shelving that trauma on the child to help this fucking lunatic.
Crazy. Yeah. So they decide to avoid the paparazzi and go to Sydney and stay in a hotel.
That'll do it.
Which they book under
I
false
did that
names.
Monday. Yeah, okay.
So no one will know they're there. So I know you can't believe this,
but he had aliases? Seems impossible.
You're not going to believe this, but the press found out and were waiting for him at the Sydney airport. And they're surrounded as they try to hail a taxi. So they surround him as they try to hail a cab.
Hey, maybe John shouldn't go pick him up. That might have helped.
That's an idea.
Yeah.
Once in the hotel room, Barbara discovers Sheila has also flown to Sydney.
Wow.
Oh, boy.
You don't know how many stamps that took.
Yeah.
Undetected.
And Barbara says, John, you should not be seen with her because of all the press.
Right.
And because you fucked her and she's not your wife.
Right.
And he's like, I wasn't going to do that, but...
Oh, no.
I need her clothes so she can, quote, help me on a board of trade inquiry.
I mean, okay. At what point is, like, rehab discussed? I don't need her. I need her clothes because of a directory board.
This
I
is
can't
Australia.
keep walking you through this.
This is Australia. This is where they go, maybe just stick to light beer, mate. You can't have...
Everything revolves around clothes. I need her clothes to become her. It's pretty straightforward, Barbara.
But he tells Barbara, he's like, look, I'm still an MP. I have a job to do.
Yeah, no, he's not still. Is he still
He
an
is.
MP?
He's still an MP.
Oh, my God.
What does it take to get fucking un-MP'd?
We'll get to that.
He lost so many elections that when he finally got one, he's like, I'm not giving this up.
I mean, at what point are they
Remember,
like, we need to
right
replace...
before he left, he was reelected.
Yeah, I understand that, Dave, but he killed himself twice.
Yeah.
You think they have that in, like, the record? They're like, oh, and if someone tries to kill himself twice,
I think you would have in the record, like, you could be like, I think this man's acting a little erratic. Instead, they're just like, Representative Quaalude, any thoughts? Yes, as a matter of fact, I have. We should get rid of ducks. Arrest!
So you think acting erratic is bad with England's current prime minister?
You shut your fucking mouth. I'm a Quaalude.
By the way, before, did you say he needs Sheila close or Sheila's clothes? But
Close.
they both make sense.
He needs her close.
Close. Okay.
He needs her nearby.
Which
Because he's an MP and he has a job to do. So, and then one night, after he says he's not going to, all right, I won't see her, then he goes out and he takes a walk in the rain for several hours.
Well, that's a good look.
Yeah. The old land swim.
Yeah.
Where's the olive oil? Where's the olive oil?
I think he's going to drown in that puddle.
So
I'm going to go for a bit of a John Wick walk, if that's all right with everyone. Don't mind me. Just off for what we call a point break.
So now, the Australian authorities are trying to figure out what law he has broken.
That's unfucking believable.
Identity theft is not yet a crime. You can pretend like you're somebody else.
Okay, interesting.
And imagine being a criminal here at that time that got caught. You must be a fucking idiot.
Yeah, but they were also like, well, he belongs here now. He's one of us.
A British MP doesn't have to show a passport to get into Australia.
I can't believe he might not have broken any laws.
Yeah.
The immigration minister is discussing with his British counterparts and prosecutors, but as an MP, he cannot be sacked. An MP can only resign or be voted out.
Oh. Well, have the fucking vote.
No, by people.
Oh, my God.
Not by
Let's give him another shot.
In February,
I'd like to see what this Clive Markham can do for government.
Markham, Clive, and John
Yes.
for MP. You get 3 for the price of 1.
John's debating Clive tonight. He's got 2 sets of clothes and hats.
In February, writs are issued that claim John owes $100,000 to creditors, including $64,000 to Barclays Bank. And then there's also the missing Bangladeshi bank funds, and there's more stuff. So there's a bunch of different financial things.
I like that he at least swindled Barclays. Whoa, that happens to all guys.
So it's obvious at that point he's running from debt. John's lawyer told them no matter
John's
what.
lawyer.
John's lawyer.
No, that's a new name. It's still him. Hey, I'm John's lawyer.
Yeah.
And my client.
And who's representing you? Hello, I'm John's lawyer. My client, he's the best of the business, this guy. Thank you very much, John. Not a problem, John's lawyer. Go on, keep going. I think we've got them in our pocket, mate. Absolutely. Celebrate with a quaalude. Don't mind if we quaadoodly-doo. Blomp, blomp, blomp. Blomp, blomp, blomp. Now I'm the judge, too. Well, I don't find any problem with anything you've done. Quite a team you two are. Time for the secret handshake. Reckon it is. I reckon it is, too, mate. We would, bang, bang, ha. Yeah.
So John's
We should
lawyer.
start a jazz group.
John's lawyer's like, whatever you fucking do, do not resign as an MP.
I resign.
So John immediately gives his resignation letter.
Nice try, lawyer.
To a British High Commission rep in a car park in the middle of the night.
Of course it has to be the craziest way to do it.
Yeah. He's forgotten about mail at this point. It's too far removed. No more letters.
When would you like to hand in your proper resignation? At 3 a.m. in a parking lot. Thank you. I'll have no trousers on, but I will be wearing a tank top. And my hair will be in a ponytail, and I'll be dancing with a carrot inside my mouth. Thank you. Ready to go.
So a warrant is issued for Sheila's arrest for
Finally,
aiding and abetting.
they've got the real culprit, the puppet master, evil Sheila. She did all this.
So she decides, I don't know why she has to go to Melbourne to turn herself in, but she decides to drive from Sydney to Melbourne to turn herself in. And then John hears that's happening, and he says to Barbara, we should also go to Melbourne to avoid the paparazzi.
Mm-hmm. And I'll stay in a room with her. And then Clive will stay with you.
So they're driving separately.
This whole country's empty. Go anywhere but Sydney or Melbourne. Go to Darwin. That's where everyone's hiding, in Darwin. Let's go back to the other big place.
Yeah.
So they're driving in separate cars, and they
Is
stop.
he driving?
He's driving, and Sheila's driving in separate cars.
Okay.
And they stop at a place like halfway called Albury, I think. And
Albury, yeah.
so shocking as this is,
Bit of pokies. Play the pokies before you get into Victoria.
That's right.
Luck's on my side.
So somehow the press knows what hotel they're staying at. And then as all the press is there and they get into the room,
Albury
John
tits.
says to Barbara, oh, guess what? Sheila's also here.
What? This is crazy.
We should go pick her up. And Barbara says, quote, I'm not having that woman in my car. I'll drive. You get in her car and follow us.
I don't think Barbara's lines in the sand are not great. You know what I mean? That's a perfect opportunity to be like, motherfucker, look, fuck you. Tell her to get the... Instead, she's like, look, honestly, why don't you just go with her? Gosh, you'll learn a lesson one of these days.
She can suck your dick while you drive.
Okay. Wait.
You wait until he gets to Beechworth Bakery on all those lewds. He's going to have the best time.
Local. A little bit of local.
Have you heard of a vanilla slice? It's fucking... A sausage roll on lewd sounds pretty good.
Yeah. Why don't you two play Find the Birthmark?
So indeed, John gets into Sheila's car. But after a couple of miles...
Barbara's been pretty cool about all this.
But after a couple of miles, the car runs out of gas.
What? How?
And then, after a discussion, John and Sheila get in the back seat while Barbara drives.
Oh. They're not getting a good Uber rating.
I was just going to feel real Uber vibe.
It's a very silent drive. And then they stop at a lake. And
John,
walk.
you are not going swimming. Just a quick dip. What could happen? I've always found bodies of water to be incredibly helpful.
What are all those shoes for?
Nothing. Just nothing. Just let me lay them
John.
all here. What?
The lake is 1 foot deep.
Ooh, foot you say, huh? Well. I'll just leave one shoe then.
So they get out and they walk around the lake to discuss the situation.
So let's try to solve this with a jaunt.
John wants Sheila to stay in Melbourne, and Sydney said she should go back to England.
Barbara said she should go back to
England. Barbara says Sheila should go back to England, and then John starts crying and scream that he needs both women in his life, and if he can't have both of them, he'll kill himself.
Or pretend to again.
Or Clive gets it. Look, the truth is I just want a threesome.
And then he ran to the lake and threatened to drown himself.
John, that's it.
Sheila yelled at Barbara, do something, and Barbara yelled, quote, you deal with him, I can't anymore. And then went back to the car, and then...
Yeah. I mean, honestly.
This is their fucking breaking point?
And the 14-year-old son's still at the airport. You know, where are... There's only so much Hungry Jacks I can have before.
Who's your hero? My dad's my hero. He died 3 times and fucked a bunch of ladies. So Barbara stomps back to the car. Sheila runs to John. They cry and kiss while standing in the water in the lake.
Like The Notebook.
As Sheila coaxes him out. Oh, by the way, as Nick mentioned, their son is in the car watching all of this.
No!
This happens to me a lot. Where you're like, it'd be crazy. Anyway, keep going. And then he's like, he was not in the airport. He was watching. How'd it go with Dad?
So, everybody right there. What did I do over Christmas break essays?
Yeah. I'm trying to grow my fringe long enough so I can't see any of my awful life.
My haircut's called Fuck It. So they drive to Melbourne. Sheila's arrested, charged with 6 offenses relating to John's fraud. She was in on the whole thing, him moving. She was a part of all the paperwork. Many papers just keep talking about during her trial and stuff how hot she is and what she's wearing. Like they just that's
good to say it's
good
changed.
That,
the papers have changed.
Yes. Yeah, I was just going to say the English papers don't do that anymore.
Various charges of fraud and theft are issued in the UK against John, but he refuses to go back. So extradition proceedings begin. John asks contacts in governments around the world to help him.
Please, I'm good.
Yeah. Have I checked out of that Miami hotel yet?
Oh, boy.
Oh, no.
Oh, dear.
New defense, I'm still in Miami.
Anybody like that one? I think that's pretty good, mate.
Oh, I'm not in Australia, then where are my shoes?
Bloody hell.
So he writes to Sweden, Botswana, Kenya, Bangladesh, Canada.
I like the list order. Yeah. Everywhere. Sweden, Botswana. The list goes on and on.
He's asking them all for asylum or a passport. It's not happening. And his daughters are helping him with this. Then he refused to sign the document that would make his MP resignation official. So he had sent that letter, right. Given the letter in the car park, but then he had to sign some sort of official thing. He's like, I'm not doing it.
They're like, he's really taking us on a fucking ride.
He says he could be deported if he's not an MP. So the House of Commons announces that they're going to debate on censuring John, and he's fucking furious.
On what grounds? Are you telling me I've done something you find to be problematic? Gosh, things have changed. The system really fucks you, doesn't it?
So he writes a letter to the Queen.
Hello, Your Majesty. Hello. I've sent this to you on an envelope. It costs 19p to send. If you're curious how I got to that number, I can walk you through it in the following letter.
You may remember me from boring you some time ago.
Hello, Your Majesty.
Fuck, you're the stamp man.
Well. Gosh, what a rapport we had, huh?
No. So he writes to the Queen explaining the extradition proceedings are unnecessary as he's going to come back to England anyway.
I'm excited, to be honest.
And then he leaks his own letter to the Queen to the press.
Oopsie.
Oh. Wow.
Meet me in a parking lot.
Barbara and Matthew have booked a flight to London, so John comes to the airport and tries to buy a ticket on the same flight.
Let's sit together.
Well, they don't let him. Surely he's platinum at this point. How many flights does one man take?
The press is going bananas, and then he's arrested at the airport for attempting to obstruct justice of the courts. As he's being arrested, taken away, he yells at reporters that he's at the end of his tether.
You did
I've
this.
had just about enough of this nonsense. I came here for a new life, and you hound me and hound me and hound me. There's only so much one man can take.
He says he will go on a hunger strike to protest his treatment by the Australian and UK authorities.
Nothing but lewds.
Quote, what do they want from me?
John, you've been crazy.
On July 17th, Australia and UK reach an agreement, and John and Sheila are sent back to England. John is excited, he says, to clear his name. John says he's excited to clear his name. They land at Heathrow.
All my names.
Where he, he tells the press he's going to be vindicated now that he can finally speak in Parliament to his constituents.
That'll be good.
And then he was immediately arrested there. He leaves the Labour Party and joins the National English Party.
They had him?
Still at him.
They still had him. Now, because he left the party, that made Labour a minority government.
Wow, I mean, that...
My whole family are Labor voters their whole lives, and they will fuck it at all costs. So they can't help themselves.
It's the Democrats. It's the same.
incredible.
Yeah, I was just going to say, yeah.
Go, this guy's in Hillsong, and our Labor guy will go, watch this.
Yeah.
I got COVID, week 1 of the election trial.
No, that is like our government, too, where it's
Yeah.
like, look, they're corrupted shitheads, but there are corrupted shitheads.
So this picture is he goes to a convention and every single guy in Labor ignored him. Like they wouldn't look at him or act
I
like he was
think I
there.
did die.
Is my name in that paper? Am I in that paper? I came back for the papers. Am I in that paper?
We should go to
Am I in any of-
Copenhagen.
So he has 21 charges in total against him.
Not bad.
He's tried at the same time as Sheila on her 6 charges. And John tells the jury he was just a desperate man trying to make good and do right by his family.
That's why I fucked the secretary. Because I put my family first.
Literally.
I made Barbara come first. So he argued it was his alter ego, Joe Markham, who committed the offenses, not himself.
I mean, who's advising him? Nobody. Nobody.
John's lawyer.
Yeah. I think you got a good one here, mate. Couldn't agree with you more. John Markham did this to us. That's right. Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Markham it is. Yes.
So he is found guilty on 18 counts
What?
and given 7 years in prison.
7 years!
That's nothing.
Sheila is found guilty
No.
and given a 2-year suspended sentence.
Okay, good.
And then John finally resigns from the House of Commons a month later.
What if he was to go to jail? Could he still have been in government? It seems
Yeah,
like
he could. No, they
really?
couldn't. They couldn't get rid of him until he was voted out, basically.
So he could have been in jail like, I'd like to vote.
yeah.
Okay, good.
After sentencing, police found more secret bank accounts he had opened. He declared bankruptcy in October 1976, and Barbara filed for divorce for some reason in 1977.
Boy,
77.
I mean,
Still a year after that.
A year later, she's like, okay, that's it.
Yeah. All right, you've been bankrupt for a year now. You've really crossed the line.
really hung in there.
John was released in August 1979 due to ongoing health problems. He had like 4 heart attacks.
Oh.
This is him.
Not all him, though, across the 3 men.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, good news. He's out of prison, and he can finally
No, run for office?
marry Sheila.
Oh, no. Okay. Boy, she was like, great, finally. We're
and
ready.
they had a son.
Oh, boy.
Wow.
And is that son Boris Johnson?
I mean, she's the craziest one in the fucking story.
It's tough.
Like, how bad are your fucking daddy issues? I mean, look at her. She's just adoring him.
Yeah. I mean,
Cute baby.
he's
She's
got
done the
9
heavy-
names. There's little Clive, Johnny, James, Joshua, Anderson, Parkman.
In the 1980s, John tried to become an author, writing a number of political thriller novels. None were bestsellers.
I mean, how could he not write a political thriller?
I know, right?
It's just write your life. I don't know. It's pretty hard.
Yeah.
What is interesting to people?
Need some twists and turns. This guy's only been to Miami once.
Yeah. I feel like he doesn't drown enough.
Hey, so I'm just trying to edit this, and so your character, he's going from Chicago to Detroit, and he takes 19 flights.
That's right. Yeah.
I feel like he could just take one flight instead of 19.
That wouldn't make any sense. He needs to go to Mexico City to get to San Francisco, followed by Chicago, then to Waikiki.
I've got to call my wife in L.A., though.
You understand?
No.
Yes, I have to call my wife in Los Angeles. She knows I'm there. But she doesn't know about Mexico City, does she?
But can't you just call her from somewhere else and say you're in L.A.?
Well, that sounds like something Clive Markham would do, my friend. I don't think you really understand who you're talking to, do you? And by the way, I'm dead at this point.
Right.
A dead man can't do that, can he?
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
Keep following it.
Okay, thank
Yes.
you. Okay,
To Copenhagen.
On April 14th, 1988, John Stonehouse died of a heart attack. On December 30th, 2010, secret cabinet papers were released that show Margaret Thatcher agreed in 1980 to cover up information from a Czechoslovakian defector that John Stonehouse had been a spy for the Czech Secret Security Service.
Wow. That's how cool his life is. Being a Czech spy is the most boring bit.
Yeah.
I fucking love to meet this dude.
I think he's still alive. He'll probably get a chance. He's here tonight.
John is the only known British politician to have acted as a foreign agent while a minister that they know of.
Wow. And Thatcher covered it up.
I did not set this up for sound, but I actually do realize I do have the fucking video of him being interviewed.
Oh, my God. Wait,
at the
just play
press
it into your mic.
conference.
Play some of it into your mic, just quickly.
I think there is a very good chance that I can obtain justice in Australia. The hearing in the court today is an example of that. The fact that bail was granted, although the English authorities did not wish me to have it. I've only received good treatment from the authorities in Australia, and I've no complaint against any of them, from the Minister of Immigration right through the whole of the administration here in Australia. So I think there's a very good chance that I can obtain justice here. Now, I shall fight this extradition because the charges that are being put against me are ludicrous. And if the full resources of Scotland Yard can only produce charges of this character after all this time, then I really don't have anything to worry about.
It's hard to find a birthmark on balls that big. Okay, sure.
Because what they're really alleging is that I stole from myself. And I don't know how anybody can do that. The company which they say I took money from is a company that is almost 100% owned by myself. I want to state quite categorically, I've never stolen any money from anyone. It's not within my nature to do that. And these trumped-up charges will be answered every inch of the way here in Australia. I hope people can now begin to appreciate that I can face no chance of justice.
Love it.
It's fucking amazing.
This story couldn't have come at a better time, Dave, because I was telling you out the back before last night, my wife came to my final show of the comedy festival. Her and her mate went out for a drink afterwards, and I said, I'll see you there in 20 minutes. She had to go home because our baby was upset. Her parents were watching the baby, And I got home at 4 a.m. And I thought I was the worst husband on the planet until now.
Thank you, everybody. Keep it going for Nick. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Sources for this episode: John Stonehouse, Death of an Idealist. Barbara Stonehouse, article in Woman Magazine, 1975. John Stonehouse, My Trial. Julian Hayes, Stonehouse Cabinet Minister, Fraudster, Spy. Julia Stonehouse, John Stonehouse, My Father. The Guardian, News7.com, Time Magazine, Star Phoenix Newspaper, Canada. And thank you to Charlotte George for doing research.
Yeah, I got an Ecobee smart home, and nosy Ned next door comes over to see. I told him about Ecobee. Turns out Ecobee's a lot smarter than his better-known smart home. I told him, Ned, get yourself a smarter home. Visit Ecobee.com today